Hello, my name is Esme. It's short for Esmeralda. My whole life, all I really wanted was my mom's attention, for the fact that she never really gave me attention. And everything I did, I honestly did for her. And after a while, which was 8th grade, that's when I started realizing no matter what I do, even though I was winning all these squash tournaments because I was into playing squash, and I was writing poems, doing poetry contests, and just putting myself out there and doing so many different things and making sure I'd succeed and I'd be number one. And I only wanted to be number one for her and to show her that this is all for you, and no matter what I gave her, whether it was my medals or trophies or my essays that got A pluses, it was as if it was never enough for her. She never gave me that reassurance that she was proud of me, or that, that she was happy that I was doing what I was doing. And that's where I started feeling unfulfilled as a child and started feeling more depressed and sad, because I was thinking, well, I don't have my father in my life, but I know he loves me very deeply from a distance, because he had got deported when I was about 4 years old. He went to the Dominican Republic, and him leaving me with my mother, it's like I wasn't as satisfied. So when it came to the time where I had to go to boarding school and I had got accepted to boarding school, she was very happy for me, and I think that was the first time I saw a smile on my mom's face about me achieving something. And I thought to myself, okay, you're happy that I'm going, but honestly, you're the reason why I'm going. You're the reason why I want to leave. You're the reason why I'm questioning life itself and happiness. And soon after, as I was there, I was still feeling unfulfilled. Even being at a beautiful place called Loomis Chafee, being in a campus where I would have never thought I'd be in, walk on beautiful green grass for the first time instead of grass in New York City that's full of dog poop, finally breathing in some nice fresh air instead of bad air from the city that's full of toxics and gas from the cars. And I was finally happy to see stars for the first time, and I was just excited to be in a very lovely suburban area where it's totally different from the city, and I needed that quietness, and I needed that peace, and I needed to step away from the city. Next I get the news that a friend of mine had passed away. And she had committed suicide. And honestly, I didn't know how to feel. I didn't. Because she was younger than me. She had died, I believe, at the age of 13. And I was only a year older than her. And I know that obviously if someone has committed suicide, it's because they're sad and they're depressed. And honestly, what was just going through my mind was, what made her want to take her life? Because honestly, I was feeling the exact same way. But I just didn't know how to go about it, of killing myself. So the one question I had for myself and for her was, what made you go to your breaking point? What finally has stopped you and say, I'm gonna do it? And honestly, that was the only question that was going through my head. And it's sad because this friend of mine, everyone has a story, like I said, but you just look at her and you wouldn't think or it wouldn't come up to your head that she was going through anything. And honestly, I too was giving off a mask, a very strong and hard mask where I was happy, and honestly, I wasn't. And every day of my life since I was in 6th grade until 10th grade, I wanted to commit suicide and I wanted to kill myself, and I wasn't satisfied with myself. I wasn't being fulfilled. I wasn't comprehending the idea of happiness. And finally I told myself, because of this lovely and beautiful female and friend of mine, Crystal, who had passed away, she was the reason why I started questioning depression and happiness. She was the reason why it stuck to me, and she's the reason why I started doing tons and tons of research on depression and what is it that gets you to your breaking point. And she is honestly the reason why I got this tattoo right here, right? It's a semicolon, and obviously we all know, hopefully we all know, in grammar, a semicolon means to continue. And that is the thought that I was trying to give myself was, okay, Esme, you're going through all of this and you're feeling as sad as you feel, and when are you going to tell yourself that you don't want to end your life, you want to continue, and you want to continue experience these hardships of life and experience life itself, and how you have no control of it, and how sometimes life is gonna just throw you at the deep end of the water, and you're just gonna be head over heels in the water, and you're just thinking like, what is gonna allow me to continue on with my life, to try to be happy and try to live life and be understanding of how life can be difficult, but you just have to continue on living and continue on believing that you are going to reach that point of happiness. It's hard. It really is hard. And it was hard for me as a 14-year-old to be thinking of all of this and also try to put myself in a person's shoes. And it's like after that, I honestly was praying to her and talking to her in my prayers and asking her, like, how do I not get there? How do I not think about wanting to end my life? How do I think positive, and what does it take to end up thinking positive? And honestly, there's no answer for that. That's what I realized. There honestly is no answer to these type of emotions that we feel. There isn't. The way to stop all those nasty thoughts about suicide and depression and all that icky feeling you get of being sad is to start thinking positive and to start thinking about the things that make you smile, not laugh or make you feel happy, at least a little smirk, a little smile, because that's just step one to things, and you have to take one step at a time, and you have to really remind yourself that, honestly, one step at a time. So my first step was surrounding myself with people who felt the same way as I did, and people who've gone through similar experiences as I have, and people who's gone through the struggles that I have. And honestly, it wasn't very hard at all. And that's when I started becoming more happy, because I was surrounding myself with people who were just like I. And they were telling me their stories and their experiences. And then that's when I started realizing everyone has their own story. No matter how much you feel, no matter how much you feel as though your life is crappy and the most shittiest life ever, you have to remember, sadly, there's someone out there going through it 10 times worse. And that's when you start thinking a little better about yourself and thinking like, okay, there's someone out there going through it 10 times worse. And like I said, my first step was surrounding myself with positive people and people who wanted happiness as well. And I did. And one of those people was my best friend, Jadis. And that's why I love her so much to this day, because honestly, me and her, we've been through so much, and we are two people who it's very hard to stay motivated and very hard to stay positive, and we needed a lot of reassurance, honestly, from our friends and family that we were loved. And it was because of the lack of love we had during our childhood. And that is why I'm very grateful for her and very appreciative, because she was very understanding of my experiences and I was very understanding of hers. And we clicked and bonded from our experiences, and that's what made us a little happier with ourselves, that we weren't the only ones going through it, you know? And then from there, we just started thinking about the things that made us happy. And honestly, it goes from the little things to the big things. And I guess the little things that make me happy are balloons. Balloons make me happy, honestly. Balloons make me happy. Cats and dogs make me happy. The rain honestly makes me happy. So sometimes I go on YouTube and I search up rainforest sounds, and that like kind of relaxes me and brings me at my happy place. And now if we're gonna talk about big things, what makes me happy, I guess taking nice fun trips out with my girls, writing poems, honestly, to release that anxiety and that pain, riding bikes, sitting down on the beach, buying myself a piece of cake and blowing out a candle as if it's my birthday, because sometimes you have to live life as if it's your birthday just to get that joyful feelingness. It was a bunch of little things where I started realizing that was making me happy and that were things that were putting me at peace and at ease. And then that's when I started thinking about my second tattoo. And it is a dove. And a dove with flowers. And what it means for me is peace, humanity, and love. And honestly, those were three things that I struggled with living at peace with myself and with my mother. Humanity, for the fact that I used to just question life itself, you know, and numerous of types of questions. And yeah, and finally love. I've always been a sucker for love. And I think that's because of the fact that as a little kid, like I said, My mom never showed me that love and affection. And the lack of love really is what put me at that depressive state of mind. And I think love, the emotion of love, is the root to all happiness, and it is the root to living a happier life, honestly, when you know that there are people out there who love you, who genuinely love you and genuinely care for you. And it took me a long time to realize, who are those people? And when I found out who those people were, I became 10 times more happier, and I just wanted to give my love to everyone, and everyone who was giving me that love back. And